Hi, my name is Sean Koss, and I am an artist. So a couple years ago, I had this idea of writing my first book. I've released a couple books in the past that are more focused around my artwork, and around that same time, I had my daughter Eliana, and when my eyes first met hers, I was completely overwhelmed by just this sense of love and just overwhelming fear of losing her. Daily, I would have these horrific nightmares and fears of just different ways I'd lose my daughter. No one really told me at first that this was normal. And so for the first couple months, I was just in this deep depression of how attached should I get to this being that I could possibly lose at any second. It became so overwhelming that I started writing these little stories kind of based around all these fears and tragedies I had of just the various ways that she could be taken from me, or even me dying in some horrific accident and leaving her to fend for herself. These stories started playing out in these little scenarios with this girl named Lucy that kind of played out the tragedies that were always just in my head constantly. The book's title is called Kindergarten. It's German for the Garden of Children. And the idea and thought of this garden filled with children's remains really stood out to me. And when you read these stories, you'll understand that they're not cute, they're not funny. They really are about just the fears of a new parent and just playing out like the tragedies actually happening. And I felt with the word kindergarten being so friendly and innocent that the dissonance really fit together. Growing up, I was obsessed with the Scary Story trilogy books, and more so the art of Stephen Gammell. His horrific shading and pencil style really made the stories jump out, even as a kid. And I knew I wanted to pay tribute in some way, while also treating this book as a sort of therapy for myself, being a new parent and raising a child. Within this book, I've written 11 stories that touch base on subjects of suicide, accidental deaths, and even just what happens in the afterlife. And I'm hoping readers and new parents alike will be able to relate on some level with some of these stories and know that they're not alone in these fears, and hopefully it helps them through them as well. If you're a fan of the art of Stephen Gammell, creepypasta, or the macabre, I really think you'll like my book, Kindergarten. And with your help and contributions, we can make this a reality. Thank you. No, that's right. I got a burp coming.
Do it.
I might vomit. No. And I'm hoping that when fans... There it is. Oh,
Let's put that in the Kickstarter video.
why couldn't that be vomit?
So I hope that fans...
No, see, I'm all about having like a blooper reel at the end of the Kickstarter. That stuff doesn't bother me.
They just sent a bunch of little hearts across the screen.
They did. It's because I burped.
Loved it.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to donate money to that burp.
Yeah. Yeah, $5 a burp. All right.